How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now. And I really do appreciate you taking your time tuning in to today's video. Man, I tell you what, Hurricane Helene was a real bitch, wasn't she? And of course, whenever a storm or hurricane like that comes near you, you've got to prepare for it. Some people sandbag their houses. They cover their windows with plywood. And of course, they get water and food, flashlights and batteries and other things. But also something very important to have are firearms and ammunition, which of course most people already had. But just in case you wanted to pick up another firearm or more ammunition before the hurricane hit, if you lived in Okeechobee, Florida, for 24 hours you weren't able to buy anything like that. And that's because the police chief of Okeechobee, Florida banned the sale of firearms and ammunition for 24 hours leading up to the storm. And the question is he allowed to do that? Or does his order break Florida's preemption law? Now, even though this is not the same thing, if we remember back to 2005 during Hurricane Katrina and how bad that storm was, especially in Louisiana, where some police departments actually confiscated weapons from law-abiding citizens who just had them on their property or on themselves to protect themselves and their family and their properties. So I think the Attorney General of Florida, as well as Governor Ron DeSantis, needs to get a hold of this sheriff to find out what the hell went on. And did he break the law? Like I said, the Florida sheriff adopted what some people are saying an illegal ordinance, which banned the sale of guns and ammunition and prohibited firearm possession in public by anyone other than law enforcement or members of the military. And like I said, this was before landfall. The Okeechobee police chief, his name is Donald Hagan. And from what I could find out, he's been the police chief for 3 years. The city of Okeechobee doesn't have a lot of residents. The population is just under 5,500, and it's at the north end of Lake Okeechobee. And a gun rights group called Florida Carry Incorporated sent a letter to the Okeechobee City Council and of course to the police chief, and they did so on Saturday. And they warned them that they violated Florida's preemption statute, which only allows the state legislature to regulate firearms, and any public official that violates the preemption statute can be removed from office and fined up to $5,000. And whoever violates the preemption law, they have to personally pay that $5,000. It can't come from anywhere else. So my question earlier was, did the sheriff's order violate Florida's preemption law? Some people say it does, and some people say it doesn't. Before I go any further, I'm going to show you the public notice from the sheriff. As you can see at the top, it says public notice. Local state of emergency, City of Okeechobee, Florida, Hurricane Helene, under the authority of City Ordinance number 1297, adopted by City Council on September 26, 2024, as the city's designated emergency management official. I, Donald Hagan, Chief of Police, hereby declare a local state of emergency within the municipal boundaries of the City of Okeechobee, Florida, in effect as of 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, September 26, 2024, and remain in effect through 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, September 27, 2024, unless terminated early and may be extended based on operational conditions due to Hurricane Helene. Said declaration prohibits the following acts for the duration of the declared state of emergency per Florida Statute 870.044. The sale of or offer to sell, with or without consideration, any ammunition or gun or other firearm of any size or description. The intentional display by or in any store or shop of any ammunition or gun or other firearm of any size or description. The intentional possession in a public place of a firearm by a person, except a duly authorized law enforcement official or person in military service acting in the official performance of their duty. At the time of issuing said declaration, no additional emergency measures are deemed appropriate to be added as allowed by Florida Statute 870.045. What some people are saying is this does not break Florida's preemption law because the City Council didn't actually make a law. It was a public notice because of a local emergency. Also remember, during the vid, a lot of places closed gun shops as well. And then it went before a lot of courts, and a lot of that was overturned. So the Florida law states something like this can only be declared by the sheriff or designated city official. And it was. But they just can't call anything an emergency. And evidently the sheriff and the city council used a statute similar to when the governor can suspend firearm and ammunition sales if there is a reason to believe that there exists a clear and present danger of a riot or other general public disorder, widespread disobedience of law, and substantial injury to persons or property, all of which constitute an imminent threat to public peace or order and the general welfare of the jurisdiction affected, or a part or parts thereof. And from what people are saying, there was no violence in the area at all. There was no one defying the police or any other elements of this law prior to the declaration of this emergency to justify it being passed. So in other words, the sheriff and the city council could have legally done this in the aftermath of the hurricane if there was widespread looting or rioting or anything like that. But you can't do it beforehand. And like I said, there was no reports of anything happening in that area before or after the storm. So in other words, this was illegal what they did, and someone needs to pay for it with their job. There was enough time given for people to get ready for this storm, to prepare. And when the sheriff and city council passed this ordinance, it stopped people from exercising their Second Amendment rights, all because the city officials and sheriff wanted to play God. They wanted to show that they could do this, and they did it. And it really does sound like it wasn't a preemption violation, but it definitely sure as hell was illegal. And I want to hear from every one of you that watched this video. Do you think they broke Florida's preemption law? Or do you think they broke the other law I spoke about? And as always, I appreciate everybody's support with the channel. You guys are always crushing it by liking, sharing, and subscribing and hitting those post notifications. And I really do appreciate it. And I invite everybody to come back and watch my next video.